a couple quick other things about arrays. I've got an array here. It's holding some text. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm printing it out in the window here. I've got a for loop inside of my draw function that's iterating through the array. And that's basically just drawing the content on screen. So we've already seen how we can add stuff to an array. If we wanted to say something like, if we wanted to like add something to this, there's a couple of different ways. One way is to say my array, array 3, right? 0, 1, 2, and so the third item in the array can be Brooklyn, right? And now if I run this, no sleep till Brooklyn, right? So if we wanted to do something where we like got rid of the last thing in the array, we've already seen how push pushes something into the array and becomes like the last item. We did that with objects already. If we wanted to do something else where we were removing the first thing in the array, we could, there's something called pop, right? So it's just like push and pop visually or when you use translate, but here it's for the first and last item inside of the array, right? So we can say function mouse pressed, and then what we'll do is we'll say whenever mouse is pressed, right, we can just say myArray dot pop, and this will remove whatever the last thing in this list is, right? So we try running it again, and then I click, and we remove things one at a time. You can see it over here every time I click, right? But let's say that we wanted to, instead of getting something at the end, right, and you'll also see too if I go past the end, right, so I get rid of this last item and then I do something, nothing happens, right? There's nothing in that array to actually be removed. But we can also do the same sort of thing where we remove the first item in the array, and that's, we use this thing called shift instead, right? So here's our array, and then I click, and you can see I got rid of what was previously the first item in the array, and then now you can see there's just nothing else left in there. So you've already seen push. This is pop and shift. There's another one called Splice that lets you remove an arbitrary item inside of the array. That becomes really handy if you maybe have a timer on something and you want to pull out a particular item. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of ways that you can use arrays. I'll put a link to the JavaScript array documentation in the video here. There's P5.js doesn't have its own array documentation because it relies so heavily on the native JavaScript ways of using arrays. So if you look at the link that I'm going to put in there, I think it'll answer most of the questions that you might have about different ways that you can use arrays. So yeah.